Hello everybody and welcome back to Alaris Labs YouTube channel. As you may know, the new version 3.5.3 was released, and here we are going to list the most important features and changes from the new version. As not all features and corrections will be discussed in this video, you are also able to check the full list of the innovations in the release note document, which link you can find under this video. As you may know, in one of the previous versions a new type of the translation rule was added. It lets you change the text using regular expression. Now we have noticed that sometimes it is also needed to change all the words in the text which match certain pattern. For example, you receive the following text, where you need to change the word Twitter to TWT more than once. Before that it was harder to do, as using translation only the first match could be changed while all other words were left the same. Now there is a checkbox treat as substitution which lets you change all words in the mentioned text. It is working for the text translation, while when choosing other options this checkbox will be hidden. Please know that the translation field you need to define the text to be replaced and the substitute using pipe as delimiter. As you may know, by receiving the message using HTTP link from the client, the switch can also recognize data coding placeholder. All the information regarding the data coding in Alaris system can be found in the video, which link you can see on the screen. Now it is also possible to use it for the link, which will be used by sending the message to vendor side. It will be set to 0 in case the client submit has the data coding JSON 7-bit, or 8 by receiving other data codings. Sometimes Alaris routing needs to take into account the exact equipment from which the request came from, as vendor list will be based on this information. All the time we are trying to do our best and trying to adapt our system to satisfy all your business scenarios and make your work process more comfortable. Before we describe our new routing functionality, let us see the type of connection where this feature will be useful. Let's firstly imagine Alaris system with the routing and two voice switches connected to it. Switch A with the address and switch B with the address. Now, in addition to this, we have one client and one vendor. Both of them have two different addresses, address 1 and address 2, and two different POI in the Alaris system. Our client and vendor are connected to the switch A using address 1, but they are also connected to the switch B using address 2. It means that a call from the mentioned client and address 2 will not be sent to the switch A and should be terminated to the vendor's address 1. The only way for the call to be passed to the right address is if this call will come from the client address 2 to the switch B and will be passed to the vendor address 2, or the opposite option, if the call will come from the client address 1 to the switch A and should be passed to the vendor's address 1. In the previous version it was quite hard to introduce such a scheme. You would have needed to create separate products for every client-vendor switch pair. Now we have added an opportunity to filter the routes that are not available on a certain switch. As you have noticed before, in the voice POI interface there is a switch field which you can see on the screen now. This is where you can specify the voice switch that works with the respective partner equipment. Now, by activating this new feature, the system will check the final routing list and will analyze all POIs and check to which switch they are assigned. For example, Alaris routing gets a request from the client address 2, and in the voice POI interface its switch is set as switch B. The system will check the final routes list and will remove vendors which have different switch name. In case a vendor POI specified in the list is assigned to the switch A, it will be removed as the call was received from the switch B. Afterwards, the switch will from the list where all routes are assigned to the vendor address 2, and result will be sent to the switch as a zip redirect packet. This feature needs to be activated in the internal configuration, so in case it is needed, please contact our support team and specify the following code. Before, it was not possible to determine the time which switch needs to wait to get the answer for the HTTP vendor, and in some cases it caused timeouts. Now, as you can see, you are able to specify the time and switch will wait for this period before the message is rejected. We decided to limit the number of rows which can be exported from the system for the interface CDR or EDR export and reports, as huge tasks can decrease free disk space. To control the number, we have added a new system setting, max number of rows to export in CSV Excel in the section General. You can also set this parameter to null and you will be able to export the data without a limitation. But in case you will set this parameter to 60,000, then only 60,000 rows can be exported and you will get an error max number of rows was reached, in case the file is bigger than the setting allows. We have added a new billing period, weekly non-calendar, which works differently from the weekly period. Weekly period starts on Monday and ends on Sunday, while weekly non-calendar is using different logic. It quantifies each month by 7 days starting from the first day, 1st to 7th, 8th to 15th, 16th to 23rd, and from the 24th the period will be always closed at the end of the month, which means that you will get 4 invoices per month. You can make an agreement with your client regarding the minimum amount of traffic which needs to be sent every billing period. If conditions are not met, you will still charge the client a certain amount. For example, you agreed with your client that it will send at least 1000 messages or minutes every billing period. In case the client sends you less, then it will have to pay a predefined amount. The business scenario can be implemented using recurring fees interface. 2 new fields, product and volume threshold, was added. In the first field, you are able to choose the product depending on the specified direction and account. In the second field, you need to specify a volume threshold which needs to be exceeded by the client. In case those 2 fields are filled, at the end of every billing period, the system will check whether the client product has issued the required volume. By exceeding the threshold by the client, the charge will be not created, otherwise the invoice will be created. As we stated in the example, in case the client sent only 500 successful messages, while the required amount is 1000, the invoice will be generated. In the new version, you are able to find a new system setting, global minimum invoice amount. It lets you specify a threshold which needs to be exceeded at the end of the billing period to invoice be generated. In case the amount is less than specified value, then it will still affect the balance, but charge and invoice will be not generated. But in case the amount exceeds the threshold, the invoice will be generated as usual. Now, in case you will not provide a user A with the following role, the tab SMS rate or voice rate will be hidden in the portal as you can see on the screen. We are trying to make your work with the interface analytics more robust. That is why at your request we have added a new layer which lets you check the billing period of the exact carrier or group of them directly from the analytics interface. You are able to organize the data at your discretion and check all the billing periods included in the group as you can see on the screen. As you may know, in one of the previous versions we limited editing the retail products in the administration interface, not to cause issues due to manual intervention. Retail configuration should remain as it was created by the platform. Now, we eased the limitation a little. All the product parameters can be edited except for the billable flag and product name. All other fields can be changed as you can see on the screen. If you try to modify the fields we mentioned, you will get the following error. One of the previous versions in the retail portal we have added a support of the MO messages. Now we have reworked the API method which lets you filter such messages based on the MO message text. As you can see, there is a field MO text which lets you filter the EDRs. In case you will fill this field with test, then the system will return all messages where this word is present, as you can see on the screen. A new column was added in the interface shortcode reference book editor. It is a regular text field where you can specify any information you need. It could be a carrier name or other useful information. Sorting and filtering can be also used to organize the data in the table. Well, that is all technical details which we plan to describe in this video. Hopefully it was useful for you. In case you have any questions regarding the new version and the features which were not described here, you can always contact our support team. If you have any suggestions regarding the channel development, we'll be happy to get them also by the following email. So, see you in the next lesson!